Our next film is one of the most eagerly awaited adult films of the year, Sergio Leone's gangster epic Once Upon a Time in America, telling the story of a bunch of immigrant Jewish youngsters who grow up in the 1920s to become powerful mobsters influencing the American labor movement. In this scene, we meet for the first time the young adult gangsters, played by Robert De Niro and James Woods. De Niro's character has been in jail for a long time, and here he is released from prison and visits the gang's speakeasy, and he realizes then that his old boyhood gang has really prospered in his absence.
Look who's here. Come here, son of a bitch. Come here. Come here. Oh, you look fantastic. How you doing?
Look how big you got.
Me.
Noodles. Oh, God.
Hey, coming through.
Hey, you look like shit. What do you want? I just get out of prison.
Well, later in the film, their gang starts moving up in the world when they link up with the Mafia and double-cross the Mafia with a machine gun ambush. De Niro's character, however, hasn't been clued in to what's going to happen.
Any problem? No trouble. Kid stuff.
How come you didn't tell me?
Being inside can change it. I'd already made the deal with Frankie to get rid of Joe. With a man like Frankie Minaldi, you don't say yes and then say no. I cannot take the chance you change your mind. You understand?
Well, you were right. I would have said no.
Frankie Minaldi is as big as they come. He's got the combination in the palm of his hand.
If we're not careful, he's going to have us in the palm of his hand.
You don't get nowhere alone.
I thought you were the guy that said you didn't like bosses. It sounded like a good idea then. It still is.
Let's just think about it, Noodles. They're going to ask us to come in with them. There's a lot in it for us.
Well, overall, this is a very disappointing film, a beautiful, expensive, but routine gangster picture about the rise and fall of some hoodlums that, frankly, we don't care about. It is full of confusing and infuriatingly confusing scenes and characters. At one point, get this, we don't know the identity of three guys who are trying to kill Robert De Niro, the lead of this film. And the last hour of this picture, involving criminal activities in the American labor movement and the American trucking industry, those scenes are complete mystery. Now, I've seen the long version of this picture, which is being shown in Europe. I've seen the short version of this picture, which is being shown in the United States, and which I'm reviewing right now. The long version is much better. The short version is pretty much a lot of junk.
I've seen both versions, too, and I think we ought to make it clear that the original European version is about 3 hours and 45 minutes long. This movie is about 2 hours and 20 minutes long. They have taken the entire structure, which was a whole beautiful situation of flashbacks and memories and fantasies, chopped out all of that material, put this in chronological order, and the irony is, if they didn't think the other version made any sense, this version is totally off the wall. I'll only give my favorite example. You gave yours. At the end of this picture, De Niro walks into a room he's never been in before in his life, and at the end of the scene, he walks out through a secret panel in a wall. Now, how did he know that secret door was there? In the long version, they tell him the secret door is there. This movie has total contempt for its audience.
Okay, I got a bigger one than that.
Okay.
In the long version, we see De Niro as an adult early on, and then we flash back to the little boy. In this version, we start with little boys that are mean little boys that we don't care about.
Bugsy's coming, run!
It's important to start De Niro in the beginning of this film because, hey, it's Robert De Niro. We'll pay attention to him, to his story. He's a big actor, a great actor. So this film, 45 minutes before we see De Niro, and who cares at this point?
Who cares about these little kids? The whole framework of the other version of the film set up a resonance that made everything work. In this one, it's a linear story of people who don't become interesting until about an hour into the film, and about the time they become interesting, it's when it becomes incomprehensible as to what they're doing or why. So that if I were a member of the audience of this film, and I was the other day looking at the second version, I was sitting there saying to myself, what's going on? Who is this person? Who is this person? What does this mean? I was totally baffled, and as far as I'm concerned, this movie has been destroyed. I just hope the longer version eventually gets a chance to be played.